Alrighty, all right. Seems like we've got enough people who've joined us, so we'll make a bit of a start. So my name is Liam McDonald, and welcome to a webinar back to ISO Basics. So this is presented by Citation Group. Before we get into the presentation, I just want to go over a few housekeeping items. So if you have a question during the webinar, please enter in the Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen. At the end of the presentation, we'll come back to these and aim to answer as many as possible. There's no need to wait until the end. You can type questions throughout the webinar. Today's webinar is also being recorded. So for those who like to access the recording, a link will be made available after the session has ended. Alrighty. So given the high attendance, I'm assuming that a lot of people come to a webinar because they might be interested in learning about ISO certification, what it is and how it might help your business. So I'm really glad that you've been able to join us today. Hopefully by the time you finish the webinar, you should walk away with some useful information that'll help you on your ISO certification journey. So today's webinar will be presented by Brad Yao and myself. Brad is a Senior Business Development Manager at Citation Certification and has extensive experience in assisting businesses in finding solutions to their certification issues. My name is Lee McDonald. If you might have missed it earlier, I'm also a Senior Business Development Manager here at Citation Certification. I work directly with businesses to help them uncover any gaps when they are preparing for ISO certification and find solutions that help them along the journey. So for those who haven't attended one of our webinars in the past, here's a little bit more information about who we are. So Citation Group has been around for 30 years, working to help Australian and New Zealand businesses by providing complete workplace compliance solutions that help create better workplaces. So from outsourced HR solutions and safety management systems to ISO certification, workplace law and migration, Citation can support your businesses with all these things. If you'd like to learn a bit more about us, I'd like to talk to you after today's webinar so we can work together on a bit of a bespoke solution. So today's webinar focuses on citation certification. So with 30 years of experience, citation certification has guided thousands of successful organizations through the complexities of certification, from ISO certification to NDIS compliance audits and training. We're your certification partner. So that's all from me from now. Pass over to my colleague Brad, who will comment on the first topic of today.
Thanks, Liam. So good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Our agenda today covers off a few things. First of all, what an ISO management system is, how it supports business growth and other benefits, understanding the process, and why partner with Citation Group more than just an audit. Thanks, Rob. So what is a management system? Rob, thank you. So effectively, a management system, right, is a correlation of your business's people, data, and process. It reflects on how you operate, what you do. It serves as a guide to running your business, what's working and what's not working, and where it's working well and where improvements can be made. So effectively, you're writing a manual for your business, as you come across ISO standards, right? ISO standards, please be aware that they are built for all organizations across all industries. You need to take out of the ISO standard what actually applies to your business and basically write the manual for the processes for that and implement it into the business. Thanks, Rob. So why an ISO system matters, and it implements a structured management system aligned with the standards, which promotes risk-based thinking, strategic growth, and operational success. Thanks, Rob. It impacts three key stakeholder groups. First of all, the owners and investors, and that is through improved governance performance. The employees by providing clarity, consistency, and engagement. And of course, clients with enhanced customer service delivery and trust. And also, it's now becoming very, very much part of dealing with any sort of tender and pre-selection processes. You need to have ISO standards in place. Thanks, Rob. So how an ISO system supports business growth?
Thanks, Brad.
This is you. Thank you.
So let's look at the bigger picture on how ISO drives growth. So there are 6 key benefits that surrounds each of the ISO certification standards. So such as standardization and quality control. So ensuring your business delivers consistent quality every time through streamlining processes, reducing waste, and improving workflows. This can ultimately impact the operational efficiency. Market access and reputation. So ISO certification is often a requirement for tenders or large contracts, which opens new markets of opportunity. ISO pushes you to monitor, evaluate, and involve your processes, and this is through the continuous improvement in which the certification program involves. Employee engagement. People work better when there's clarity and commitment to safety and quality in the workplaces. And lastly, legal and regulatory compliance. So embedding regulations into your everyday processes. This can ultimately lower your risk of fines or even penalties. So with the first one, ISO 9001. So ISO 9001, it's probably the most adopted standard, not just locally in Australia, but also globally as well. So ISO 9001 is the quality management system standard. So it focuses on establishing and maintaining a robust quality management system to improve businesses to consistently meets customer and regulatory compliance. So this essentially helps you to build better customer satisfaction and loyalty, reducing errors and inefficiencies, and also making decisions based on evidence and data. So ISO 14001, it stands for the Environmental Management System Standard. So this standard is all about management and controlling your environmental impact, and a lot of organizations, they might tend to have a greater impact than others on the environmental that they might have. So beyond compliance, though, it can cost cut a material cost, building trust with stakeholders and also customers who might prioritize sustainability. And this can also, in addition, avoid environmental breaches in fines. So it's especially useful in sectors such as construction, logistics, manufacturing, and also food production. ISO 45001, which is OH&S. So with this standard, it helps create safer and more supportive workplaces. It proactively identifies risks, ensuring compliance with WH&S laws and reduce injury-related downtime. So safety is a huge impact to the culture and retention. People tend to work or want to work where they feel looked after. ISO 27001, Information Security Management System Standard. So if you handle sensitive data, especially in finance, tech, healthcare, education, and even the legal sector, this standard is essential. It helps you protect systems from breaches, building client trust and comply with data protection laws. Through cybersecurity threats on the rise, 27001 can service as an advantage when tendering for new work. So I just want to take a minute to pause here just for a quick moment, just to share an exclusive offer as a thank you for joining us today. So if you're starting to think that OSCE certification might be the right path for your business, we're offering everyone today some training to August. So we're providing everyone also with a bit of a 50% discount. Training, there are sessions held next week, but if next week doesn't suit, we do have other sessions throughout the year as well. We'll send an email out with a bit of a discount code post this webinar as well.
Okay. Thanks, Liam. So most organizations know that they need certification, but don't know where to start. Rob, thank you. So many organizations know that they need to have know that they need a certified management system, know that they want it, and believe that a certified management system will improve their business. But a lot of people, a lot of organizations, right, don't know how to develop or implement a system that's truly ready for certification. That's where citation certification comes in. Thanks, Rob. So we work with a network of over 200 experienced ISO management consultants across all industries. And our consultants bring deep expertise and practical knowledge to help organizations. They design and implement tailored management systems, align systems with industry-specific requirements, and prepare confidentially for certification audits. So whether you're in manufacturing, healthcare, construction, or professional services, our consultants ensure that your system is not just compliant, but also adds real value to your business. Thanks, Rob. So preparing for an ISO management system, and basically this is the step-by-step process of what needs to happen before you actually contact Citation to get your certification audited or certification process. So first of all, you as a client need to get familiar with your ISO standards, the key clauses, and provide staff training of any implementations that you need to make with new processes and stuff like that. You need to conduct a gap analysis. So that basically is an assessment of your current processes versus the ISO requirements in the standard. Identify gaps and improve areas and improve areas. Now, this is please remember that, as I said before, that the ISO standards are written for all industries, all organizations across all industries. You need to take out of the ISO standard what is needed for your particular organization. And there'll be a lot of stuff in the standard that's not required, but you just need to take out of it what applies to your organization. Please remember, right, the more stuff that you implement, the more stuff we've got to audit. So don't go diving down any sort of rabbit warrens and stuff like that. Once you conduct your gap analysis and work out where the gaps are against the standard, you need to develop or update your system. And that basically means that you need to create clear policies, you need to write clear objectives and procedures aligned with the standard. And along with that, any sort of new processes or policies or stuff that you've implemented, right, you need to raise and train and engage your staff and raise awareness across the team. And deliver that in role-specific training. So, for example, right, if you've written a process for example, finance, you need to make sure that the finance people are actually understand what the new process is. The same thing with customer service, the same thing with any sort of manufacturing and stuff like that. So you need to make sure that your staff or your employees, right, are across what's expected in their role. A lot of people also, when they onboard new people with their induction, they make sure that they're fully aware and that they're position description is actually written to the standard to make sure that they're fully aware of what their role actually is. So once you've engaged all your staff and made sure that they're all aware of everything, you need to integrate the new processes and track performances using key metrics such as reports and graphs and stuff like that. You then need to conduct internal audits to make sure that you've identified non-conformities and areas of improvement. Once that's done, you need to then do a management review to make sure that the senior leaders assess the risks, the progress, and basically ready for certification. And then we come in and we do our stage 1 and stage 2 certification audits. Next slide, please, Rob. So the certification process basically is in the first year you do a stage 1 and a stage 2 certification, which I'll cover off in depth. I'll cover all of this off in depth in the next few slides. So once stage 2 is completed, you are then certified. And then years 2 and years 3, after on or around the anniversary of the certification audits, we then conduct a surveillance audit. And then in year 3, sorry, we then do a recertification. So the first year is certification, years 2 and 3 are surveillance, year 4 effectively is recertification, and then back to a surveillance audit process. Thanks, Rob. So the certification process explained, and these are very busy slides, but I'll work through them and explain them a little bit more for you. So stage 1, right, is the first formal step in the certification audit process. And the purpose of the stage 1 audit is to review the management system manual and supporting documentation to make sure that it aligns with the selected ISO standards. We assess the policies and procedures. We assess the documented process. We look at the scope of the management system and the evidence of implementing the planning. And this can be conducted on-site or at a desktop audit. It requires access to all relevant documents and records, and is conducted by us, our auditor from us. So the stage 2 is probably the most critical phase of the certification audit process. This basically is where the rubber hits the road. We make sure that what you say you're doing, you're actually doing. So it's to verify the process and procedures outlined in your management system. So it's implemented across the organization, it's compliant with the standard, and it is effectively maintained and followed in practice. We assess the day-to-day operations and activities. We look at the staff awareness and training that's been undertaken. We look at records and evidence of compliance. We look at the internal audits and the management reviews, and we looked at any sort of corrective and preventative actions. It's performed on-site by an external auditor. It involves interviews, observations, and document reviews, and it confirms that the system is functioning as described. So as I say, once the stage 2 audit is complete, you are then certified. Thanks, Rob. So in years 2 and years 3, we do an annual surveillance audit on or around the anniversary of the certification audit. And this is to confirm that the certification system is still being followed. It ensures that any improvements and updates are being maintained, and it identifies any new risks or non-conformities. It's conducted annually in years 2 and 3 of the certification cycle, and it's typically shorter than the initial audit. We review key processes, procedures, internal audit and management review records, corrective actions and continual improvement efforts, and any changes to the organization or its operations. So years 2 and 3 are then done. And then before year 3 ends, we then do a recertification audit to make sure that the system is still effectively implemented. It confirms that processes remain relevant and compliant. It validates any sort of continuous improvement. It also looks at any sort of new things that have happened in the industry, in the business. So for example, right, if you've won a new contract for a specific client and you need to implement new processes or procedures for that specific client, we look at that and make sure that's been implemented correctly. We look at if you've opened up any more branches, we look at those through surveillance in years 2 and 3, but a bit more in depth in the recertification audit. It's a more of in-depth audit than a surveillance audit. It's a comprehensive review of the entire management system. It evaluates any changes in the organization's risk and opportunities, and it must be completed before the 3-year certification cycle ends. And upon success, it resets the 3-year cycle, so it goes back then to surveillance audits. Next slide, please, Rob. Thank you, Liam.
Thanks, Brad. Well, I work with Citation. So with Citation certification, our auditors are industry specialists, so we understand the unique risks and needs of your business. We do provide clear, actionable, and comprehensive feedback, training resources for your entire team, flexible audit delivery, so working around your schedule, and also HR advice from our broader Citation group network. Our aim is to make the process variable, and Citation certification actively holds over 3,500 active certificates across Australia and also New Zealand. Thanks, Rob. So just before we get started on answering everyone's questions, I just want to remind everyone about the training offer that we do have today. So if you are on your phone, feel free to simply scan the QR code and then fill in the form, and we'll be in touch with you post this. I'll just give everyone a minute or two to. Okay, we might move on. Okay, so we've got a few questions coming through. So we'll only get time to answer a few today. But we would be more than happy to talk to you offline if we don't get to all the questions. So we'll. Okay.
So, good question. How will the certified management system help us with win tenders? As I mentioned before, if you're wanting to deal with government or tier one companies, right, they want to deal with clients or vendors or suppliers that actually are going to be around for a long time. And an ISO management system more or less verifies or clarifies that you are a business working to best practice, and on the tender admission or the tender or a contract, for example, right, you'll be asked if you actually are certified, and if you are, there's a very very good chance that you will win it over a non-certified organization. In fact, a lot of large organizations and government will not even talk to you unless you have ISO certification to some degree.
Brad. There is another question in the other section. So, do you have a recommended process for the gap analysis? It's a good question. So, ultimately, Citation certification, we can complete a gap analysis prior towards your formal stage 1 and stage 2 audit. So I suppose it is a benefit for those organizations who, if they're unsure, if they're ready for certification. But however, saying that as well, because with Citation certification, we're still an accredited certification body, we do need to remain impartial. So if you need any type of support, then that's when we can always put you in touch with an ISO a consultant to assist you with any type of implementation support.
So another question is, how important is a certified ISMS management system, ISO 27001, for an organization? So ISO 27001 Information Security Management System is now becoming very, very important with all of the breaches and cyber attacks we're experiencing now globally. And some very, very large organizations have been subject to those. And, we all remember Medicare and Vodafone and stuff like that. ISMS is becoming very, very important in the business world because it protects clients' data and it also protects your data against any sort of infringement. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to stop it altogether because, unfortunately, as we all know, hackers are getting better as the hours go by. But a well executed ISMS system in your business will certainly mitigate the attacks and do the best at the time of preventing the attacks. Also, I found out, depending on the insurance company, a few weeks ago, that there is also savings in your insurance policies if you do have an ISMS system in place that's been certified.
Fred, there's a couple more. Is there a risk management certification? A good question. So there is a standard. It's called 31,000, and that is risk management. Unfortunately, you actually cannot become ISO certified to that standard just because it's not recognized by Jazan. So ultimately, we do have a few clients that utilize that standard in with their quality management system.
So
As well.
just further on from that, Liam, sorry. ISO 31000 is basically the guidelines and framework for risk-based thinking for all of the management systems, not just 9001. And it is, as Liam says, it's not a certifiable management system. It's basically a framework for implementing the others. So both of them, or they all go hand in hand.
No, there's another one. Can you change providers at any time? Yes, you can. You can transfer, cancel, or withdraw your certification at any given time throughout your cycle.
So how will training help us in understanding ISO management systems? So training is very important because first of all, a lot of people need to know the fundamentals and basics of ISO. Our training system, both online, is the introduction, so it's the foundation courses for all of the training, and then the virtual training sessions, which which are available next week and stuff like that, is a little bit more in depth to give you a little bit more practical understanding of how a management system can be implemented and how it can benefit your company. As I said, a lot of people utilize the introduction management systems online as part of the induction program for new employees. And of course, if they want to get more advanced and learn more, of course, they can then do the virtual courses when they're available. The other important course that a lot of people do take up is ISO 19001, which is the internal auditor training course. And that basically helps clients prepare to conduct internal audits throughout the year of their management system.
I think that was it.
Okay. Sorry about that, people. The dog barking.
All righty. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. Hope you got a lot out of today's presentation and have plenty of tips to walk away. Just a reminder that we will send out an email with the recording. So if you would like to get in touch with us to discuss your workplace compliance, happy to do so. But I think that's it. Alrighty.
Thanks everybody for attending and have a great rest of the afternoon.